Hi everyone. This is Marie Cox. I'm from Arlington Transportation Partners. We are going to go ahead and get started with today's webinar. And today we are talking about the summer metro shutdown on the yellow and blue lines, which is going to be happening between May 25th and September 8th. So a little bit of background on me. I work with Arlington Transportation Partners with employers in the Crystal City and Pentagon City areas to help businesses implement programs to help people bike, walk, take transit, carpool, vanpool, and telework more often. So today's webinar is mainly going to be focusing on your commuting options and what you can do during the metro shutdown to get around. If you are on this webinar and you're in HR or facilities at your work site, there will be a couple of resources for you towards the end, and you can also use this information to better promote these options to your employees as you're getting questions. So to get started, what we're going to go ahead and start off with is what exactly is happening and some of your options. And so a little bit of background, beginning May 25th, Metro is going to be closing all stations south of Reagan National Airport for major platform renovations and rebuilding. The stations that are going to be closed include Braddock Road, King Street Metro, Eisenhower Avenue, Huntington, Van Dorn, and Franconia Springfield stations. These stations are going to remain closed through September 8th. It is important to note that this is an updated end date, as previously they were just going to be closed through September 2nd. There will also be single tracking on the blue line following the end of the shutdown, and so that will continue through the end of September. So a little bit of history. So these station closures are part of Metro's 3-year plan to make Metro rail stations safer and more accessible for customers with disabilities. Basically, what's happened is that they have noticed that there are 20 outdoor stations that are in need of rebuilding and repair. So this is going to be the first in a series of shutdowns. The next ones that are going to be coming up are going to be in 2020, and they're expected to be on the green line and the orange line to outdoor stations along there. These updates are going to, with the summer metro shutdown, basically by closing down all stations for a set period of time, rather than doing weekend track work or late night track work, it's going to shorten the amount the amount of time that the project is going to take. So instead of it taking 10 months through a series of weekend shutdowns to complete just one station, or 18 months of late night track work to complete one station, they're just going to be able to knock out all 6 stations within this summer period. Now, despite the fact that it's going to take significantly less time, it's still affecting a large number of commuters. During a typical weekday, about 17,000 customers board at one of these metro stations that are going to be affected by the shutdown. And so with this, customers are going to need to add at least 30 minutes to their commute time if you usually board at one of those stations along the yellow or the blue line. There will be free shuttle service and additional bus service that is going to be helping during the shutdown. So there are some great alternatives for you instead of just, deciding to drive and park at your work site. So like I said, there are tons of options for getting around. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing a ton of different options that are available to you that are located in your area. And we're going to go ahead and start off with transit. So there are different types of transit that are available to you, including buses, the VRE, and express shuttles and local shuttles. Express shuttles are the first ones that we're going to cover. The express shuttles that are available will be completely free, and they're going to be running every 5 minutes during rush hour, taking approximately 25 to 30 minutes for you to reach your destination. These express shuttles are nonstop. They go directly from point A to point B. And there are 3 options here. The first one is Franconia Springfield, which goes directly from Franconia Springfield Station to the Pentagon. The second one is going to be Huntington and goes directly from Huntington Metro to the Pentagon. And then the third one is a little different, and it was just recently added. This is going to be the Landmark Express Shuttle, which provides rush hour service only Monday through Friday from Landmark Mall to the Pentagon. The hours and the peak service hours are going to be defined the same way that Metro Rail defines them. So the hours of operation are 5 a.m. to midnight on weekdays, and the peak service is going to be from 5 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., as well as from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And then the next option that's available to you is the local shuttle. The local shuttles are going to be running every 5 minutes during the rush hour. There are 2 different local shuttle options. The first one is the Blue Line shuttle. This one stops at Franconia Springfield Metro, Van Dorn, King Street, National Airport, and the Yellow Line shuttle. And the Yellow Line shuttle has free shuttle stops at Huntington, Eisenhower Avenue, King Street, Braddock Road, and Crystal City. So you will notice here that the only shuttle that's available to you that stops at the airport is the Blue Line shuttle. So it will be important to keep this in mind if you have any travel planned over the course of the summer. And then while it's not free, there are also a ton of bus options available for getting around the area, which may be more convenient for some commuters or be less crowded than the shuttles. So I've broken them down here by metro stop so you can see what's close by. So for Franconia Springfield, the best bus that you can take from here is the Fairfax Connector 393, 394, or 395. These are express buses. They stop at Saratoga. They start from Saratoga or Gambrel Road and go directly to the Pentagon. They cost $4.25 one way, and they do provide rush hour service only, so they don't run frequently during or at all during midday. If you're coming from Van Dorn Street, the bus that you can take from that area is going to be Metro Bus 21A, which goes from Landmark to the Pentagon. This has, instead of being an express bus, this has a lot of stops in between. And so it's a little bit less expensive at $2 one way and provides rush hour service only as well. From Van Dorn Street, you also have Metro Bus 8Z, which goes from Quaker Lane with intermediate stops and then goes and ends at the Pentagon. And this bus also is $2 and provides rush hour service. And if you're coming from Huntington, the Metro Bus 10A or 10E are great options for Crystal City or Pentagon City commuters. And the 10A goes from Huntington Metro Station. The 10E comes from Hunting Point, and they both travel to the Pentagon with stops throughout the Crystal City area. One difference between these 2 buses, the Metro Bus 10A operates all day, whereas the Metro Bus 10E operates during rush hour only. Unfortunately for Eisenhower Avenue commuters, there is no alternative bus service at that metro station. So your best options, if you're coming from Eisenhower, would be to take the local shuttle, which would be the Yellow Line shuttle, or to go to a nearby station that has bus service. For King Street and Old Town, you do have dash bus services available to you. So the dash bus AT3 and AT4 are options that go, the AT3 goes from Hunting Point to the Pentagon, and the AT4 travels from Old Town to the Pentagon. These cost slightly less than the other buses at $1.75 one way, and they also provide rush hour service only. For Braddock Road, last but not least, Braddock Road has luckily a ton of other bus options available. Metro Bus 10A, which we mentioned earlier, is a great option that goes, stops at Braddock Road Metro Station and then goes up through Crystal City to Pentagon. And then Metro Way is another bus that is the area's only bus rapid transit system. It goes from Braddock Road to Pentagon City with stops in Crystal City and Potomac Yard. And the great thing about Metroway is that it travels on HOV and bus only lanes so that it makes for a faster commute. And again, as I mentioned, the dash bus AT3 and AT4 that you can pick up in Old Town, you can also pick those up from Braddock Road as well and travel to the Pentagon. Slightly different, but also considered transit is the VRE. So if you haven't tried the VRE before, it makes for a super comfortable ride. It's nice and quiet. They have magazines, you can sit and relax. And the VRE is a great option if you are coming from Franconia Springfield or from Alexandria. So from Franconia Springfield, you can take the Fredericksburg line VRE. The VRE station for Franconia Springfield is right next to the metro station. And it is just 2 stops to reach Crystal City. You can ride the VRE Monday through Friday. It does operate in the AM and PM hours only, so it doesn't always operate in the middle of the day. However, it has some pretty convenient times. You can still use your transit benefit for the VRE if your company does offer one. And you can see the different ride options there for passes. You can just try it out for a single ride. You don't have to commit to something monthly. And then for Alexandria, from Alexandria, you can board the Fredericksburg line or the Manassas line to get to Crystal City. And it's nonstop to Crystal City. Crystal City will be your very next stop if you take the VRE. The other thing about the Alexandria stop is that it's not right at King Street, but it is only about a block around the corner from the King Street Metro. So moving on now, we're going to go ahead and discuss van pooling. So when I started this job, I thought that van pool was when someone who owned a van picked up some others around who lived close by and then brought them all into work. That is not necessarily the case. A van pool is actually a rented van from a company like Enterprise for a group of 4 or more commuters that start in a central location, such as a park and ride lot, and end at a shared destination for work. They may all be going to the same workplace or to different offices in the same neighborhood. Van pooling is best for people who live 15 or more miles away from work, and it allows commuters to travel free in HOV or HOT lanes and avoid wear and tear on a personal vehicle. And what is also awesome about van pool is that you can pay for the cost of your van pool using your transit benefit if your company offers one as well. So what does a van pool cost? The monthly cost of riding in a van pool really varies depending on the type of van and the round trip miles. There are a lot of programs regionally that assist with the cost of covering a van pool. So, for example, individuals commuting to Arlington by van pool can receive a $50 per month subsidy per new rider for the first 6 months that they're van pooling. This also allows them to be eligible for monthly giveaways and fun things like that through our program that is called Van Pool Connect, which is run by our organization, Arlington Transportation Partners. Additionally, vans that agree to report on some basic data can receive as much as $400 per month towards the cost of the van rental, and that subsidy lasts the entire length of the van, and that's through Van Pool Alliance. And lastly, is that vans can receive $200 per month through a program called Pool Rewards, which is run by Commuter Connections. If vans have 7 or more people in them, then they are eligible for this subsidy. And they just have to, again, provide some basic reporting information. Many of these incentives can automatically be set up by your van pool provider. In many cases, particularly if your company offers a subsidized transit benefit, as the majority of companies in Arlington do, then you end up paying nothing at all out of pocket for the cost of your van. So if you're interested in joining a van pool, you can simply go to joinavanpool.com and sign up to see if there's a van that's already in existence or in the process of being formed that might match your commute. If you're a larger company and you want to see if you can reduce your parking footprint and make commuting easier by forming van pools at your work site, you can also work with us and we can help you identify opportunities for van pooling at your workplace as well. So moving away from transit and van pool onto something that's great for summer, we're going to talk about biking and bike share. So I'm assuming that you've probably seen those red bikes that are all over Arlington. That is the region's docked bike share system, which is called Capital Bike Share, and allows people to pick up a bike and ride to another station near their final destination. There are Capital Bike Share stations near Eisenhower Avenue, Braddock Road, and King Street metro stations. There are many others along the Shutdown path as well, so you can pick up one that might be a little bit closer to you than these stations listed here. An annual Capital Bike Share membership costs $85, and that includes all rides that you would take that are under 30 minutes in duration. Which is exactly the kind of trip that Capital Bike Share is made for. It's not necessarily made for long distance riding or anything like that, but for rides that are under 30 minutes, it's perfect. And you can always, if you are taking a ride that is going to be longer than 30 minutes in duration, you can lock your bike back into a station, pull out another bike, it's called dock surfing, and continue on and get another 30 minutes free. So how do you use bike share? To use bike share, so once you've joined online or you've purchased a short-term pass at a Capital Bike Share station, you can find a bike nearby using either the Capital Bike Share app or go online to capitalbikeshare.com and see what stations are close to you. If you have an annual or monthly membership, you'll receive a bike key, and you just can put that bike key into the dock of the bike that you want to take, and then that will unlock your bike for you. If you have a short-term pass, you just enter in your credit card information or your ride code at the kiosk and unlock your bike. To get your bike out of the dock, you just lift the bike out of the dock by the seat and ride to your final destination. And then you just return it to any empty dock at a Capital Bike Share station, and you have to wait for the green light in order to make sure that your bike is locked in. If you keep getting a red light, that means that you haven't locked your Capital Bike Share bike back in appropriately, and so it will continue to charge you. So to start writing, again, since May is a great month to start writing, with it being National Bike Month and there being Bike to Work Day coming up on May 17th, there are lots of opportunities to learn to ride. Bike Arlington has multiple classes coming up to help. So first off, they're going to have their basic skills clinic on May 11th at 10 a.m. And so the basic skills clinic is free and intended for those who can ride on two wheels but might need practice with things like starting, stopping, gradual braking, turning, or weaving. And so it's a great class if you are familiar with biking, but you need to kind of brush up a little bit. And if you use Capital Bike Share for this class, Bike Arlington will also reimburse any fees that you incur for it. And this class is going to be held at on the Quincy Street parking deck, and that's at Quincy Street and 15th Street North. It's near Washington Lee High School. The second class that's coming up is City Cycling, and that's going to be the following day, May 12th at 10 a.m. And so with that one, the city cycling class is best for those who could ride the bike for 30 minutes, but may want to learn more about how to maneuver different situations or that they may face on a trail, on the bike lanes, or on the road. It also includes a short ride so that people can practice the skills that they've learned. The cost of that class is $10, and it is also held at the Quincy Street parking deck. And Adult Learn to Ride is a great class that has a really high success rate for people who are going from not knowing how to ride a bike at all to being on two wheels riding along by the end of the class. That's also May 12th at 10 a.m. And the class for Arlington residents is $10. For non-Arlington residents, it's $85. And that includes the cost of a bike and helmet for the class. So if you haven't ridden in years or you just don't feel comfortable at all, that is the class to take for you. And if Alexandria is more convenient, they are offering a city cycling class and an adult learn to ride class on May 5th at Jones Point Park. And just like the classes that we have in Arlington, the Learn to Ride class is going to be $10 for Alexandria residents, and the city cycling class is $10 for everyone. And those classes also start at 10 a.m. So moving on now over into carpool. So carpools, while they don't qualify for the transit benefit like vanpool does, they still come with lots of benefits of their own. Commuter Connections offers up to $130 per 90 days for carpools that are registered with Pool Rewards. So what that is it is up to $2 per day for joining into a new registered carpool, and as a maximum of $130 over a 90-day period when you've just started carpooling. Additionally, many office buildings in Arlington are equipped with designated carpool parking spots, which may come at a discounted or free price as well. They're normally located close to elevators, conveniently in your office building. So take a look and see if you have them available there. Some employers are also getting creative with their benefits and do offer benefits for employees who carpool together. And carpool is a great option during the shutdown, especially if you're traveling through Alexandria on Washington Street, as this road is going to become HOV3 only, beginning May 20th and lasting through the duration of the shutdown. So if you're interested in carpooling, but you don't know how to find other riders, if you're sitting in a conference room right now with your other coworkers listening in on this webinar, you might want to talk to each other and see if you are coming from similar locations so that you could carpool together. You can also start a ride matching board at your office, which may be as simple as posting something on the employee intranet or putting up a flyer in the office common space to see if there are other people who might be interested in carpooling along with you. And you can sign up on commuterconnections.org to find potential ride matches there instantly. And it'll match you with people who are going the same way and have a similar schedule as you. And then also under carpooling is slugging. Slugging or casual carpooling is another popular way to travel to help drivers meet the minimum number of riders to travel in the HOV lanes. It's popular along I-95 and I-66, and it's free for riders and has numerous pickup locations going to Crystal City or the Pentagon as well. You can see if there's a slug line for your commute by just going to slug-lines.com. And for employees at companies with great telework policies, you might be able to even just skip your commute altogether. 70% of companies now provide some form of telework. And since I work with businesses in Crystal City and Pentagon City specifically, I can tell you that off the top of my head, it's really hard for me to name a company that doesn't offer some type of telework. And many organizations have recently enhanced their programs in the past year or so. If you're not currently teleworking, review your organization's telework policy to see if there may be an opportunity for you to telework during the shutdown. If you already have a telework agreement in place with your organization, it might be a good time to look over your agreement and your telework policy and see if there's some opportunity for you to increase the number of days that you're able to telework during the shutdown. If your organization isn't currently offering a telework program, that doesn't mean that they're not looking at it. Summer is typically a really popular time for many organizations to look at piloting a telework program, so they may be looking at doing that. And so sometimes where transit takes us isn't as close to our final destination as we would like. And when that happens, it is called the first mile and last mile challenge. So due to the shutdown, you may have to start your commute from a different place than you normally would, or you might have a lengthy walk to reach your final destination from your selected transit option. So luckily, there are many different ways that you can go to connect with where you need to be. The first one that we're going to talk about is ride hailing. So ride hailing includes services such as Lyft and Uber, and these services offer shared rides that make it a lot cheaper for you to connect with where you're going versus just a regular one-person Lyft or Uber ride. Some companies, especially companies that have WageWorks as a transit benefit provider, may allow you to use your transit benefits towards these shared services for Uber Pool or Lyft Line. And other companies might provide things like corporate accounts for workday travel, so that if you're not taking your car to work, you can still get around during the workday and travel to and from meetings without a personal vehicle. If you are new to Lyft, you can download the app and use our code for the shutdown ATP Lyft 19, and you'll get $5 off your first 2 rides. And as mentioned, bike share is a great way to connect, especially in the Crystal City and Pentagon City area. If you live too far away to bike your full commute, Capital Bike Share allows you to connect with your destination once you're closer into the area. There are 20 Capital Bike Share stations in the Pentagon City, Crystal City, and Potomac Yards area. There are stations that are positioned really close to central transit locations, such as Pentagon City Metro Station, Crystal City Metro Station, and the Crystal City VRE station. So you can pick up a bike from there and go over to where you need to be for work. The Pentagon, unfortunately, doesn't allow Capital Bike Share on their property. However, there is one pretty close by. The closest one to the Pentagon is at 12th Street South and South East Street. And as mentioned previously, Metroway travels all throughout Pentagon City, Crystal City, and Potomac Yards on HOV and bus-only lanes. It runs frequently, every 6 minutes during peak hours, and it's a great way to get around your area with stops at the Crystal City Metro, Pentagon City Metro, and the VRE station. If you're transferring from the Metro or one of the local shuttles, if you're transferring from Metro, the cost is discounted by 50 cents. If you are transferring from one bus to another bus, the cost is going to be free for 2 hours. So you can transfer as many times as you want from bus to bus to bus, and it won't cost you anything as long as it's within that 2-hour period. And at the start of your commute, Metro just announced that they will be providing free parking at Franconia Springfield Metro Station, Huntington Metro Station, and Van Dorn Street Metro to accommodate commuters who might be catching buses or the VRE at these areas. So this is a new program, and it's planned to last for the next 6 months. And so we're going to switch gears for a minute and talk about what companies can do to support commuters during this time. If you're an employee listening in, there is still going to be a lot of resources at the end, so continue to stay tuned. In light of the shutdown, companies in Crystal City and Pentagon City may want to consider enhancing some of these programs that they might have in place already. So especially programs for telework, flexible scheduling, capital bike share or biking in general, carpool, and vanpool. I can help in a lot of different ways. Some of these include surveying employees to determining the impact that the Metro shutdown might have on your workforce and how they'd like to see you as a company support them. I can help you pilot a telework program with support of local partners to help your company apply for incentives that help your business with telework. We also offer training for managers to support telework and help managers effectively supervise employees who might be working from an alternate location. And we can provide customized materials specific to your own policy. We can also help you provide discounted or subsidized capital bike share memberships. We can help form van pools, and we can help you learn more about van pools and see if they're an option that might work for your employee base. And then for employees, if you still have questions about your shutdown commute, here is how we can help. So you can always request a commute planner from us, and you can do that by going to our website, arlingtontransportationpartners.com, or this link here, and filling out the request for a commute planner, and that will show you step by step how to get to work and your different options that are available, as well as any resources that you might need to know about for your commute and your benefits if we have access to that information as well. You can also go to join a van pool at joinavanpool.com, and we can see if there's a van pool that matches your commute or one that's in the process of forming. And you can find out more information about the shutdown and available options on our dedicated site on arlingtontransportationpartners.com, which just talks about the information that I've covered here, but is more for all of Arlington as well. And there are also some additional resources to help as well. So you can provide feedback directly to WMATA on this project. And so you can just go to metroplatforms.questionpro.com and share your thoughts and feedback. WMATA also has a site to help you look at your shutdown commute options and more information on the project at wmata.com/platforms. And lastly, there are a ton of apps that you can use to get where you need to be going. Here is a list of some of those. My favorites that I use on a daily basis are DC Metro and Bus, Google Maps, and Transit. The new Capital Bike Share app is really great as well. And at the bottom, you'll see there that it says dockless apps. So that is more so for that's a combination of all of the dockless apps for the dockless scooters and bikes that you'll see around Arlington. You'll need to download each app from the provider individually to rent a scooter or a dockless bike in the area. However, you can also see where all of them are located on the transit app. And so thank you for taking the time to listen in to our webinar today. I hope that the information that you've learned here is helpful. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me via email. Today's recording will be posted on our website soon. There will also be a short survey that's going to be going out if you registered, and it would be really helpful if it was completed so that we can help identify how we're doing for future webinars that we have planned. So thank you again, and I hope that you find an option that works best for you this summer. This now will go ahead and conclude today's webinar.